Hi, everybody. It's Christine Clark, and I wanted to share something that is a part of my passion. It's a personal experience, and it's very relevant to the work that I do when I'm working with clients one-on-one, and the themes that come up, um, deeply embedded themes that I see repeated over and over again, and what that's all about has to do with denying the higher self or denying the soul to help the personality or the ego through a difficult time or difficult moment. So these could be moments in time. These could be, longer durations of time. And so a lot of you will know me as the Taurus 9 girl, higher mind inspired. And today I'm just here to just represent who I am and I guess to point out an important, interesting fun fact is that since I've been so focused on um, helping people access their higher mind consciousness or their intuition or even how to recognize when the soul is speaking versus the fear-based artificial self. Um, and having already integrated my ego with my soul, with my higher mind in a previous lifetime, um, I still agreed to come back. I was asked to return to share my light uh, for the times we're in now, in particular, but all throughout my life. Uh, is to in order for me to do that, I've had to sort of start over and tweak the dial and uh, choose parents and environments and circumstances when I was little that would really shape me a certain way so that I could start that process all over again. And by no means have I won the race on that one, but I do spend more time in communication with my higher mind, um, being able to recognize my soul more and finding more creative ways actually than ever before in helping other people do the same thing. And a lot of it's not talking about myself and making it about myself, but a lot of it is being able to have a shared life experience that I can understand the client from and sometimes share those moments with them so they don't feel so alone or so silly or that they're not the only one having these kinds of experiences. And so in all of my wonderful focused awareness and knowledge, both in person with my own life and improving upon this level of recognition and communicating and working with my higher consciousness, my ego understanding its role in the equation when it comes to co-creating with my soul. And how my soul is just, loving on my ego and always looking for every single opportunity to teach it something while it expands itself through the experiences that it's allowing the ego to have. Well, that's a long-winded sort of setup, but I wanted to tell you how surprised I was of this recent scenario that unfolded from the start of September up until mid-January. And what was the setup was I have another job where I am a Pilates teacher in a Pilates studio. This particular one I've have founded. So I'm working in. I'm no longer the owner, and I've been there for a long time. I've been doing this work for since 1995, basically. So I've been doing this a long time. So this is a part-time job that I'm referring to. Anyway, the space that we were in the building where where this Pilates studio is that I've been working in for so long, had to relocate because the owner of the building wanted to live upstairs. So they wanted to give us the space downstairs. And after a lot of back and forth, it turned out that we were very lucky to even be able to do that. So here we are, we're going through the process. My daughter's completely taking over and doing such a beautiful job. And I can be very good with change, and then I can be horrible with change. It all depends on how attached I am to an idea or a thing or a person. And this happens to be something that I'm very attached to. I mean, this studio I've had it for a long, long time, since 2003. And so here we are. So in this last roughly 4 months, I began to, because at this point I know myself. I'm like, I'm not going to dramatize. I'm a big girl now. I've shown myself so much evolution. I'm not going to put that on my daughter. I'm not going to, she knows what my default is when it comes to any kind of change. I mean, you move a set of balls from, small piece of Pilates equipment from one place to the studio to another, and you would hear about it from me. Like, this is how far where I've come from. This is how far I've come, where, it's been a long time since eliciting that kind of behavior. Anyway, I'm thinking move. So I already know. I guess I went into a freeze mode and wouldn't let myself feel what I was feeling, because my daughter did such a good job of taking over, such a good job of, handling everything and keeping me out of it. I didn't have to worry about anything. I didn't have to really even get involved on any level here and there, but nothing to create any kind of overwhelm. So another part of me was kind of bullying myself through the process. You don't have a right to feel bad. You don't have a right to feel sad. And so all of this denial of natural feelings that were coming up began to build up. And a part of me was very impressed with myself. I'd never handled myself so stoically before, when I was quite attached to something. So I'm thinking, wow, I've hit it. I've evolved, and quite proud of myself. Quite proud of what I'm showing my daughter when it comes to change. But I began to notice very quickly that I began to change. I was my giving space, when I'm in that space, is usually top, top, top. Uh, well, that was waning. And my tolerance and patience for people was really waning. So I was now dialed into the negativity of others, because I'm also empathing and absorbing everyone else's discomfort, and having to change, and new environment. And plus, we had workers and renovators upstairs making noise the whole time, the banging on the floor, the ceiling. I mean, it was really something. And you'll know me as the QHHT practitioner, level 3 QHHT practitioner. So I'm going into hypnotist mode, and really the ability to create a hypnagogical effect while I was teaching really went through the roof. Like, it was fantastic. But it didn't really matter, because inside of that, after a while, I was even ruining that. Like, I just was just not being nice in the teaching. But in the beginning, it was like, okay, I'm really mastering this. Like, but I would notice right before the class and right after the class, anytime after the class or before the class, I was agitated. I wasn't feeling like myself, and I was finding it difficult to be open-hearted and heart-centered with people. My old self. Um, And in a space like that, it's a conditioned space where I've been doing the same thing for so long, logged in many, many teaching hours. So, I mean, I can handle a lot and still pull off a good, good quality teaching. But even in this, oh, I'm, creating this hypnagogical space, so none of us are bothered by this sound. Now inside, I'm contaminating the scenario, the environment with my own negativity and carrying everyone else's negativity on my shoulders because I know how challenging change could be for me. And I'm hearing comments from the clients, things just weren't the way they were used to in terms of the space and the floor layout and the plan. And just to give you some context, it's a Stop Marathon fully equipped machine apparatus studio. I've built multiple studios like this. This is just how I build them. I build them all the same, natural lighting and windows all the way around. So this used to be one of my earlier first loves. It's still a passion, but the one-on-one coaching space online, Zoom sessions, and then the QHHT as well is really what I spend most of my time doing. These transform and realize yourself sessions, 90-minute Zoom sessions are like a distilled version of the QHHT sessions that I was doing. Um, but it's not QHHT at all. It's I like to help people access their higher self. So anyway, all this that's going on, it goes right over my head. Like it eludes me to sit down and ask my intuition or my higher self or even Jesus. I've had conversations with Jesus because he's my direct ascended master, and they've been lovely. They've been very grounding, very simple format communication. Don't take it too seriously, but very human-like with me. Didn't even think of asking him. Uh, and so this just got built up too much where it was getting to the point where it would be just one class in that one week would destroy me for days afterwards and tossing and turning at night because of my behavior and because of the way was being with people. And this went on for another month, and then I just couldn't take it anymore. So this has gotten out of hand, and I completely surrendered. And I was just like, what gives here? I had so much focus behind who I was directing this question to, and it was a higher version of me, more of an intuitive, all-knowing version of me. And all of a sudden, I hear back, have you thought about having compassion for yourself? Because I was, where is my compassion for these people that are showing up for these classes that are coming to see me? And, they're going through stuff, and I'm just like, talk to the hand, it was just really getting out of hand. And that's when the spark hit. And I was like, oh my God. I knew instantly, my knowing knew instantly. I didn't know intellectually, but as soon as that comment was made, I heard that voice inside my head. Um, I knew instinctively I was not being compassionate. And I made the direct link that all these changes, loss of control, not having any control whether we could keep the space or not. That's going to be a big one for me. Even loss of control of designing and creating the new space downstairs. I thought it was great to be, taken off the books on that one, and it is in retrospect fantastic. Very grateful for my daughter for being able to handle it. And I was also enjoying how well she was doing professionally and just, not just grabbing the bull by the horns, but steering it. I really made that connection that I wasn't having enough compassion for myself. And then so, you start to pull on the ball of yarn. And I started to realize I was not, because I wasn't giving at the level I was used to giving, I was now starting to disqualify my work. You see how it works? You see how negativity can work? It will find other things to latch onto and pull it down to itself to make more, to create more space and make more negativity. And so now I'm devaluing my work. So anyway, it's just like a sandwich. It just was building and building and building, and there was all kinds of things being thrown in there about how I was making myself feel worse, and in the process, making other people not feel so great. And I'm lucky. I've had people with me for a long, long time, very high client retention. They've seen me go through highs and lows. They know I get a little aggressive when I've had too much coffee. Maybe the workout's a little too quick. I mean, these people know me, they're with me. Um, so at the same time, I immediately felt released from my head and I could just settle into my heart so naturally. And now I'm in the heart and I'm not in the head, but then the head follows and now the head's in the heart and I am free. I am free from being trapped here. And now I'm home in the heart, free from the external world. And I can examine this now without the tetherings of the external world in me. And I'm like, wow, man, I help clients with this stuff every day, different scenarios, obviously through their perceptual filters, and see such beautiful outcomes. And I mean, for me, it's for being in the space, doing the same kind of work for 30 years, it's just a no-brainer. I mean, you can almost throw anything at me when it comes to being different personality types and everything. And I love a good challenge. But here I am completely have, pulled the wool over and was just blinded by my own negativity, but so transformed by it. The realization of self that came out of that was so empowering. It really brought me closer to my soul. And I realized that was my soul creating the circumstance for my personality to learn through so that it could expand itself. So I know, again, I know this professionally, but I was making that connection within my own scenario, real life scenario, and it was very, very profound. And what's come out of that since? Now, not only am I, Christine back to her loving, giving self, I am beyond that. I've moved to another higher octave when it comes to giving. And by the way, in that space, my in the gift I have when it comes to the body, because I've always been in fitness simultaneous to the healing arts and different modalities of fitness, breath work, fascial work. Um, the intelligence and the intellect that's been coming out of my teaching, I've been channeling, but this was a whole other level of channeling the divine and the divine coming through and knowing exactly the tone and the pitch of the voice. Like I am wowed. I am in awe. Anyway, I'm in my fourth week of this. And now I'm starting to share the story with a few clients, just like I'm sharing it with you now. And that's when I'm like, oh, it's been a minute since I've done a YouTube video. I should probably put this online. I should share this on YouTube and make it a good opportunity to talk about my tri sessions, which are 90-minute Zoom sessions that help people to heal any aspect, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the physical, and how to detect whether it's the intuitive mind speaking or the personality. And then if people get stuck on it, I'm there as a surrogate because I'm tapped into the client's higher self as well. We can work in tandem together and channel what the intuitive information needs to come through, and even by the guided imagery and whatnot that takes place. Each client is so different. I really never know what's going to happen. Um, they're really transforming before my eyes on the screen. It's really been just amazing. And people who are drawn to that work, whether it's out of necessity because they live too far away, or to come see me in person, or they just really feel drawn, whatever the reason is that pulls them in that direction, that will be what is for them. That will be what will be the best thing for them. So clients are always asking, well, what do you think? Which one of your services should I choose? And it's like, I can't answer that for you. You really have to go in the direction where you feel pulled. And that will be your intuitive self wanting to guide you in that direction. I never make that decision for people. No way. So anyway, back to the story. So, I mean, there's just so many different ways to tell the story and so much more to unpack. But I just want to just really drive home the point that um, this had to happen for me so that I could be pushed further along in my evolution and get closer to my soul. Because since this has happened, since that breakthrough, there's been more conversations going on, and I've been reliving and revisiting what I've just shared with you. I go back into the room and I process and I get the conversation going again. And it's just been really doing a number on my ability to detect and even to allow Jesus to come in and speak to me more. Now that's becoming more mainstream in my life. He is pretty much the only energetic that I'm allowed to really channel in this lifetime without bringing in um, challenges for myself. And it's because I'm wired to this Christ consciousness, this frequency of Yeshua and the man that was known as Jesus. Um, Even he's been coming in more frequently because I'm allowing the conversation and my ability to detect that it's definitely him. And really, does it feel right? Is the information positive? Does it sound, does it make sense? Does it uplift me? Because I'm not chasing to feel good all the time. I'm okay with not feeling good and using it as a tool and to discover where to locate myself and where I'm vibrating and frequenting in that moment. I don't chase and try and put a bandage on things to try and make myself feel better. And I don't encourage that for the clients. I definitely encourage feeling more peace. But if you have to feel something, then feel it. We've come here to feel. We've been granted the gift to feel. Not all um, life forms and beings can feel. This is an incredible gift because this is a technology that we have that lights other things up and brings other things online and brings the divine into the mundane, brings the divine into that horizontal level of humanity. It's that intersecting point that creates these rings rating out information of what's just taken place so the universe can expand. The soul expands itself, the universe expands. So I don't want to go off on a crazy tangent here. I did not let myself feel. I bullied myself. I had lots of reasons to be stoic. I had no right to my feelings. I think I was afraid of the old version of me coming out to make things difficult on everybody just because I was having difficult and I didn't want to put that burden on my daughter. Um, I know that I was meant to go through that the way I did because of what's coming from it now. So I guess another point I could make in this video is even if we're not feeling our feelings, it's probably because we're not ready. And at some point, we're going to have to be faced with those feelings so that the flow can begin again. And we're meant to flow. We are energy. Energy is meant to move and to be seen and to be heard and to be shared. And so the light that is emanating from me, I have more awareness of than ever before. And it's the awareness that is the that makes the difference. It's the conscious awareness of where we are, where I've been, where I am now. And then, of course, what that does is it just brings in more gratitude. So we don't want to be running from our feelings, preventing ourselves from feeling to the best of our ability. But while we're doing that, there's going to be a good reason for it. And we will get there when we're ready, when we're good and ready. And it's good not to force things and be kind to ourselves and show that compassion while we're not there, especially if you know you're not uh, wanting to feel and this is how addiction patterns get developed because we're holding off from feeling. Even if you know, just be kind and be gentle on yourself. You're going to get yourself there. We need to parent our own wounds. We are not our wounds. And this is why I'm here on the earth, is to help people parent their wounds. It's something that I've had to learn to do in very big and heavy ways. I haven't seen any real drama and activity for some time now when it comes to my own evolution. And I was ready. I was really due for a good one that unfolded over the fall and into the winter months a little bit. And it just goes to show you that we can all let things go on for a long time. I mean, that 4 months for me is a long time. It's that what that would be considered a long time with where I am now. Thus so far as I can tell, those 4 months used to be 4 years or 40 years. I'll be 60 in May. So, but usually it's, 4 minutes, 4 hours, 4 days, 4 weeks. This is just to give you an example. So, um, I'm glad I needed to tweak it and let it go that far because that's what it took for me to surrender. And there is so much more goodies that are unfolding from this event. And that's what it was. It was an event. And I don't know if some of you will find yourself in this story with other examples. Maybe it's the same theme, having difficulty with change, which is something we're going to have to, loosen our soils and be ready for change with what the world is showing us now and with what the collective is demonstrating. So I'm going to wrap it up by saying, my signature, I love you. It's been a while. I love that. I love you because I do, because I know that you are me and I am you, and um, we are just another version of one another. And Lakesh, you are another me, I am another you. From the law of oneness, we are all from the one. And I know that, and I say this to my clients all the time, your healing is my healing. Your healing is helping to heal the world. And thank you for showing up for yourself. Well, I'm really thankful I showed up for myself and just finally um, allowed my ego to give up control and surrender its control, because I know now at a deeper level through experience and feeling not just from agreeing and fostering the idea that the ego is the higher self's, or the personality is the soul's most intimate creation. It's loved unconditionally, and it is always looking for an opportunity to teach the personality something, because it wants to give back to the personality, because it gives the personality experience, sets up experiences, because as it sets up experiences for the personality, the soul will expand itself. So it's already getting something out of it. The universe expands itself because the soul is expanding itself. So it wants to give back to the personality and say, here, there's something in this for you as well, because I'm teaching you to emulate me, because you really actually are me. So what I'm saying here is, who are we really? We are the higher self with an ego. We are not an ego with the higher self. We are a soul that made a personality. We are not the personality that has a soul. Realizing the truth of who we really are. To transform, that's why I call it my tri-sessions. The angels brought this to me. I'll go into the story about how that happened and why. To transform is to change who we were into the betterment and a more optimized version of ourselves. That could be broken down into 100 different videos at least. Realization is a higher level of awareness, realizing the self. Who's the self? The higher self. Remember, I'm the Taurus 9 higher mind inspired girl. So there's an idea I want to finish off with here and plant a seed and leave with you until I jump on here again and make another one. If we could dare to stretch our shyness, to have the audacity to claim ourselves as the higher self with an ego, as the soul with a personality, and command that to be so, claim and command, announce, I am the higher self. I am the intuitive mind. I am higher consciousness. You will flip, because it's truthful, because it comes from truth. You naturally will do a flip in the head if you're ready to do so. And you will become that for however many, many minutes or moments, for how long the moment in time will be. Doesn't matter. You need to constantly remind yourself who you really are. And then as the parent to the child, soul to personality, higher self to ego, as the parent to the child that you created, you can parent your wounds. And we need to start doing our own work, stop putting the responsibility on other therapists and one another. We need to boss up and carry our own load, okay? Because when the ground is really shaking beneath us and things are tumbling around us, we cannot be going, you carry my stuff while I run faster with free. Now we don't get to do that anymore. We're not in that time. The energies are not supporting that behavior and mindset. We need to be aware. And even in our unawareness, our will, our desire to be aware, another video, will get us much further, and we will be carried. We will be carried. That's when you won't see two sets of footsteps in the sand. You'll see one. That's because you've been carried. Same as when you get enveloped by the higher self and you're in action as the higher self. Sometimes we're in the struggle, but we're wanting to emulate and take on the characteristics of a higher consciousness. So we're acting and playing the role of such. We can do that too. There's all kinds of creative ways to get us closer to the soul, to serve it, to be a vessel for it so it can embody and live out the experience more. The closer we can get to the soul and the soul's desire for the life, the better off we're going to be. And the better off we're setting ourselves up for the afterlife and for the next life if we're coming back or going somewhere else. More to talk about that. Anyway, mind blower. Over 4 months. Feel your feelings, Christine. Feel your feelings. So much I mean, it was quite the sandwich just because I was denying myself from feeling. That one little root cause created so many problems. It created so many issues. It was like a virus getting into a computer. It was worse than that, actually. It broke me down on every level. I just was so separated from myself and so separated from source. Like it was just that much more difficult to meditate, that much more difficult to make good food choices. Like I really needed to go down the rabbit hole on this. And boy, I'll tell you, it was minutes when I was ready to sprint. Minutes. Like when you're taking that pressure off, and it's like, big breath. It was like, and then of course, all you want to do is share that. So glad for YouTube that I can share this. You know, just this alone is going to be my sharing for the purpose of helping others is an important reason why I'm here. Yeah, and you know, I might talk about this story some more because I have a feeling that there's more coming out of the bag of abundance from the realms that are above the third dimension for me, for my endeavors, for my willingness to and boy, did I cry. I cried, and that was something I hadn't done in a while. Like I cried, like I'm an ugly crier. Who's not an ugly crier? But I was like a baby. I was like a little girl who lost her dolly or had her dolly ripped away from her, or a mother who had her child taken. That was also a feeling I had at one point. And the crying was off and on for 3 or 4 days. Man, did it ever make me feel lighter, more, you know, that spring tension? I had that spring back. I just wasn't in the tension, you know? So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling at this point. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, and I hope this helps someone out there on some level. Till the next time. Thanks, everybody.